You ever had one of those days where a 1 hour job turns into 4? Yeah, let's get into it.
Oh, that's not gonna slide out. That doesn't want to come out either. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, what the fuck? That's it. Get hours later. Hours!
Oh, man.
Okay, so how do our balls look? The Gen 1?
Cancerous, they look good.
Wait. Are you saying the Gen 1 has bigger balls? So Gen 2 has little balls and the Gen 1 has big balls. It's gross, dude. It's like almost green. Ah, dude.
Hey guys, hello, Keep It Dirty Off-Road, and in this video we're going to show you guys how to rebuild a CV axle. Now, I'm not actually going to do the work. We're actually going to employ Kevin at HM. He's going to help us get this rebuilt, but in this video we're going to cover how to take it out. It's with a mid-travel kit. I know it's a little bit different, but it's essentially the same regardless of what kit you have. And then we're going to cover the process on how to rebuild it, especially for those that don't have somebody that can rebuild these axles for you nearby. The process is actually relatively easy, so we're going to cover all the parts you need and how to do it, because it is relatively easy as long as your axles are not broken. Now, first, why are we making this video? Well, this is actually common maintenance on all your mid-travel trucks, long travel trucks, any trucks where you start upgrading the suspension. You are going to run into issues where you're going to wear out the boots quicker, and usually the boots fail first before the axle fails. The axles can last 100,000 miles without needing any changes, but the boots usually fail much quicker. Now, on a mid-travel truck, because that front end is raised, they tend to fail sooner because these folds are constantly touching, and that's what happened to mine. The folds are touching, started to split, and when they split, they start spewing grease, and if you don't take care of it right away, dust and grime and everything gets in there, and they destroy the axles. So as soon as you see the oil coming out, you want to replace it. Now, this isn't just isolated to mid-travel Raptors. This can and does happen with stock trucks as soon as you start upgrading the front end. You guys heard me talk about this a lot on the videos over the last couple of years. I don't recommend you raise your front end anything more than 1.5 inches. When you start doing 2.5, 3 inches like you do with some of the other spring kits out there, you start changing this angle, and these folds start rubbing more and more, and as these folds start rubbing, they actually wear out and they fail. On my 2017 Raptor, I actually ran geyser springs, which back then it was about a 3.5 inch lift, which is a lot. From the time I put the springs on to when both CV axles failed on both sides was 5,000 miles. That's how quickly it happened. And they both failed within a week of each other after a nice fun session using Baja mode. I love using Baja mode in the Gen 2 Raptors. It's a mode that requires you to be hyper aggressive. If you don't like it and how, if you think it holds the gears too long, it's because you're not driving aggressive enough. I love that mode. And when you do that, when you add those, you do run into this problem, right? Where the boots fail and you're gonna have to replace them. There are two kind of schools of thought when it comes to this. You could either replace the whole axle altogether, and if you're stock, that is the more cost-effective option. Because I think stock axles, you can get them from Ford for about just a little bit over $200, $250, somewhere around there. I have to check the price. I'll put it on here. I'll check on Ford parts and show you guys what the price is on Ford parts. But it's relatively inexpensive to replace the whole thing. If you're running mid-travel, long travel, you have extended shafts in the middle, so your axles are much longer, so you don't have the option to just buy new. You do have to rebuild. Why wouldn't you want to rebuild a stock axle? Mainly because of the price. When you start getting into it, you're looking at least an hour labor per axle to take this apart, clean it, and put it back together. So depending on the shop, 125, 150. You also need a couple cans of grease. The grease you have to put on here is good grease. You can't just use regular automotive grease. They make some stuff. We'll put it on here. That you can get it at any off-road warehouse. Off-road warehouse carries it, so that's where I'm gonna get it from. And then depending on which boots you use, those can also be anywhere between 25 bucks a piece to as expensive as the one that I'm using. These are the HDHQ boots for the Raptor, and they actually recommend these for the Gen 1. And the reason why I like these is because there's less folds on them. So as the angles start getting creeped up, because there's less folds on it, they don't touch. And if they don't touch, they're gonna last longer. This is also a little bit thicker too. Now, I actually looked it up. This part has a mold number on it, and I actually looked up, this was actually not made for Ford. This was actually made for the old KC trucks. So I am gonna put a part number down here in the description too as well. You don't have to get these from SDHQ. SDHQ does offer a kit that gives you 2 boots, all the little clamps you need, both the small one and the large one, And you can even buy it with the tools, so it makes it pretty affordable. But if you just need the boots, it's cheaper to get these from, say, from like Napa, because SDHQ is charging $50, Napa's charging like 25, 27 for these. So make sure you put that down in the bottom so you guys have it. But this is the boots we're gonna have put on the truck. I don't want to put this style on. These are the ones that SVC put on. And when they rebuilt my truck, they put the same style, but one side only lasted 2 months. I've put this on, and this has lasted me the full 2 years. These just started to fail, and if I'm honest, they've been failing for a while. I mean, you could see the wear on the rings. They've been touching. So they've been slowly wearing away at each other, and eventually this side gave out, which is pretty normal. Usually it's the side that's right up against the axle that gives out because of how thin these are. And I recommend these because of the thickness and because of the less touching. I don't know if this will fit a Gen 2 axle. I have a feeling it would because they're very similar sizes, so it might fit a Gen 2 axle. You also have to be careful not to stretch these out too. You do need to put them so that it's this high, because if you do stretch them out, then they can rip. All right, guys, so next up, I want to show you guys the process we went through to take this thing out. And oh man, that sucked. That really sucked. First, take off your tire, and don't forget to chalk your rear tires instead of safety jacks in. Next, crack the bolt at the top of the spindle. Loosen the CV hub bolt. I usually only like to loosen this up because I'm actually going to use this bolt to help pop out the other side, because the other side gets pretty tough to pop out sometimes. So I'm hoping it'll just come all out when I pop that out. You know what I forgot to do? Disconnect the good old tie rod. Getting ahead of myself. Now first, to show you guys the damage. So you can see the grease went everywhere. Went over the caliper, all over that. Yeah, right at the edge. Sucks. Put this back because I don't want this falling on me. That's not gonna slide out. That comes a hard part. That doesn't want to come out either. The plan here was to use the spindle as leverage to pop off the CV, but the clip in the outer CV loop popped out instead. So that meant I had to pry on the CV. But before we do that, let's free it from the spindle and connect the spindle back up to the upper control line. Now, when you pry on the CV axle, do not pry on the rubber seal. Only pry on the metal housing to avoid touching the rubber at all, or you will damage it. If it is damaged, axle seal will leak and you will need to replace it, which means you have to redo the whole job all over again. Unfortunately, here's where things went south.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This blows a big fat one.
CV axle should have just popped off here, but mine was not, and I could not figure out why. CV was out, but it kept jamming on the coils of the shocks.
What the fuck?
And that's when I realized the whole half shaft inside the front axle was coming with it. At this point, I basically had to stop and wait for my boys to come home, as I did not have enough hands to hold the spindle and remove the bottom of the shock. I needed help. I've never had that happen to me before, and what's going on here, guys, is when I went to pop off the CV from the main front, the axle, the front axle, the half shaft came with it. And what I think happened, we captured some clips of it. I think it's just some rust and some stuff got in there. It got all gunked up, and that clip wasn't really allowed to move, so it was stuck. The only way that was going to come apart is by putting it in a vise and hammering it away. And it took a lot, and I mean a lot of force to get this out.
Oh my God.
Need to make sure that's it. You ready? Don't hit me. You ready? I hope so.
What are you guys doing?
We're beating it out.
Oh, how you guys doing that? We're just
Dad's just beating it. I'm holding it. Push it in and see if you can pull it out. Pull it out. It's moving. Just a little bit more, Dad. Okay, see the gap growing. Why is it getting out? Oh, there it goes. Go. Inner CV clips gave up as well. Let's get the balls. My bad. I didn't think that was gonna work. We found the 6 balls in the lock ring. My bad. No. I busted his balls. You ready? No. Why isn't it coming out? That's what she said. Dad, maybe we gotta flip it like another way. There it goes. Or maybe not. Oh my god, look at that.
That's all rusted.
Gross. That's our problem right there.
Oh my god.
That's our problem. So that fell apart.
I took his balls.
What we found are caused. See all that gunk? Right? And then the actual inside of it is pretty bad. So see in there? Hope you guys can see that it's pretty bad. So I'm gonna give it a nice clean. And I'm gonna try to get this back in. The connection here was bad, so I spent a lot of time cleaning it out and making sure all the gunk and everything was off the shaft threads so I would not happen again. And then we installed the half shaft back in. We did not even have to take anything apart. Just pop it in and make sure it clips in.
No, I don't think so. Oh, I need better aim apparently. It's in.
No leaks?
No leaks. Hopefully the seal's not damaged, because if the seal's damaged, this can suck.
Fucking hours later. Hours! Now, I've talked to a few folks in the industry, like Bailey at Hand Race Design, Kevin at HM, even John Kilborn, who deals with stuff like this all the time, and it's fairly normal for that to happen. It's never happened to me before. That was the first for me, but it is fairly normal for the half shaft to come out if that joint gets all gunked up. We're gonna get this rebuilt with Kevin, and then when I come back and install it, I am gonna put some anti-seize in here to hopefully prevent some of that rusting and some of that shit that happened, because that sucked. I hope I never have to do that again, because the only way to take it out with the half shaft on is to disconnect the shock. And you just have to disconnect the bottom. I think with the mid-travel ones, you just have to disconnect the bottom. That should give you enough play. And I think with the newer ones, even though the newer ones don't have as much play because of that rubber bushing, I think if you just disconnect the bottom, that will give you enough play if that half shaft comes with it. All right, guys, so let's go to Kevin at HM, get this rebuilt so you guys know how to do this. Now, apologies for the audio here. This was done in an active shop, and I did not want the guys to stop just so that we can work on this video. Now, do you need a vise to do this, or?
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier. Let me see what we're...
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, like I said, that side was pretty bad. So what's the first step? You got to take it apart and clean it, right?
Yeah, take it apart. Inspect it, see what damage is there. A lot of times these crack. That's really where we've had the failures on these. These do wear out on the stars. Really, it's the cage that breaks. They'll splinter in between.
You were saying you're mainly looking for separation, right? Cracks in that piece.
Yeah, I'll show you here.
And keep everything together because it is one-sided.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that how it goes on too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because see how it just goes towards the axle shaft side.
Oh, that little lip.
Mm-hmm, and then the smooth side goes for the seat.
Okay. Then you're inspecting the threads too, right? Just to make sure everything looks good.
The splines, because if these are quality axles, which they look like, if they're 300M, it's really the spline never goes bad.
Mm-hmm.
These trucks don't have enough horsepower.
Let's say that people are going to want to do 800 horsepower of these things now.
Yeah, well, good luck. Then you'll have more drivetrain problems.
Now it's good to go.
Horsepower comes a bigger pocketbook.
Yeah. Now it's good to go through and get all the old oil off, right? As best as you can.
Yeah, all the old grease. You want to inspect the star and make sure that there's no
Scarring.
heat scoring,
Yeah.
anything like that. Because you can see where it's wearing.
can see the marks.
Oh yeah, you can.
And sometimes these do go bad. And you can't buy the parts. Unfortunately, you got to buy a whole new axle. Ford in there doesn't want to sell you parts.
Whole new axle's not too expensive though.
That's not too bad.
It's like 200 something.
Gen 1s are more expensive than the Gen 2s.
Really? Oh, because of the irregular lengths, huh?
Well, on the SVT part of it, so because it was a special vehicle construction, they get a percentage of that. Before we went to F150, the parts got a lot cheaper. So the Gen 2s are generally cheaper to repair. Look at this. It's not active. Let's see what this looks like.
Now, it's not just the outside, right? The outside, you're looking for cracks, but the inside, are you looking for wear?
All the way. You're just looking for irregularities, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that doesn't look like it should be.
So far, what I'm seeing, it's relatively easy to do this, right? You just need clips to take that apart. You don't really need anything really specialized to do this, right? Except for that.
No.
And it's just a matter of cleaning it and then packing it, right?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Not too bad.
It's the same on every car that has CVs. Pretty good.
Not too bad. There's definitely wearing, but that's normal.
That's normal wear. I mean, you don't have any heat zones either. That's a big thing too. Is a lot of times we've had these come in where they're just scored with heat marks, from getting too
Now,
hot.
you think that's more common on the Gen 2 because a lot of people tend to use Baja mode and most of the drive modes are in four-wheel
I've
drive?
seen them all.
Really?
Yeah, it's. I mean, it really it boils down to the grease. The
Okay.
grease is really kind of, to me.
So, like, if you get one of these where you get the little boot and it comes with a little packet of grease, you want to basically just throw that away, right?
I only use the high-end race grease. That's all I use.
Yep.
I've had the best luck with it.
Which-
is the reason why we race on that stuff.
For you guys wondering, that's this stuff.
Yeah, axle's fine.
Good. Now, this side we have not popped open yet, but this is a side that was already apart.
Yeah.
All the balls are in there at least. That's good.
And see, that's more of how the Gen 2 is, where it's smaller balls, more of them. The Gen 1s had bigger balls. C-clip's still there.
What's the other clip? Is it probably like buried in there?
No, it goes inside. So this basically presses through the shaft,
Uh-huh.
and then on the other side it has a detail.
Oh, so it doesn't have a little clip like this one does.
It-
Yeah, and we didn't show that because mine already fell off, but
Yeah.
that one doesn't have a little
Yeah.
clip. It has this clip right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically it crushes, and then once it gets to the other side, it expands. So then it can't pull back through. I mean, it's a detent basically. So it's meant to come back apart. With force.
Yeah, we don't have to clean that up, man. We're just going to throw those away.
These are giant balls.
Yeah. Those are nice and worn out. They're not going to work again. And then the clip that we're talking about, guys, that holds this side in is over here. Mine fell apart and trying to take it apart, but yeah, it's just that clip right there.
Make sure you clean off all the old grease as much as possible, especially if it's the old nasty watery stock grease that comes with the original CVs. Next, how to take off the ball bearings on the outside CV joint.
Oh, so just from the side. Oh, that's it? That's not too bad.
Yeah, if you can get them where they're fully open, they'll just pop right out.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Just make sure you're gentle here. Light prying is all you need. Do not force it, or you can actually damage all these components.
Okay, to start taking this apart, you need to make sure that you're on the correct side. One of these sides will allow this to pop off. Right. So, okay. Put that way. Turn it just a little bit. There you go. Yeah, so Eddie showed me how to pry the balls out, and then this I just kind of fiddled with it and it popped out. Basically, you got to get this to the right side, and then a little bit of pressure and it'll come out, right? Yep. So how does that come out?
This? One little sweet spot.
Oh. There it is.
One little sweet spot.
So you don't want to force that out, right?
No,
you just want to find the
it-
nice
it
little
comes
sweet
out
spot.
like- you just got to rotate it to where it has like a little sweet spot. It goes, whoop, pops right out of
Okay, so how do the balls look?
They look fine. As long as there's no discoloration.
And the
They're not
inner one?
cancerous. They look good.
Yeah. All right, cough.
Cough now.
So the inside one has 6, the outside one has
Yeah.
8, right?
Yeah, and so like I think there's 10 now on the Gen 2s.
Oh, really?
It's more like this size, maybe a teeny bit bigger, but they're multi-balls instead of like the smaller ones like that. You know, bigger and.
So wait. Are you saying the Gen 1 has bigger balls?
Oh, I'm sorry, Gen 2. Excuse me. The Gen 2 is changed.
So Gen 2 has little balls and the Gen 1 has big
Has
balls.
bigger ones, yeah. The Gen 1 has bigger balls. It has a V8. That's
Yeah.
why they had to put bigger balls.
That's a lot of grease in there. It just kind of, this one, it just collects on the bottom, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So this
There's
one
no
showing,
scoring. I mean, that's just normal wear.
that is normal wear. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good to know.
That one's again.
That little black marks you see? Yeah.
That's a little scarring there.
But these are still good, right? Like, they still got at least one more rebuild out of them.
yeah.
1 or 2 years.
Yeah. We could take a little bit of some soft cloth and just clean these up too. You know.
Are they, so is it good to kind of take your finger through there and kind of feel for those spots?
You don't want to. If there's fingernail, if you can't feel it with your fingernail, then it's generally okay. But if you can feel it with your fingernail, then it's not okay.
Okay. So yes, you do have to finger it a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta finger your CV a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't feel, yeah, it feels pretty smooth.
Yeah, it's smooth. There's no. A lot of that's just discoloration. It's from the heat, or the grease.
That's a drawback of IWEs too. IWE deletes, they're always spinning.
That's it.
Okay, so with quick clarification, so when you start rebuilding it, you want to start with the outside first,
Yes.
right? And then build your way to the inside.
Yes. Yeah, because you got to put the boots on in sequence.
Okay. Now, do you assemble it all together and then pack it with grease, or how do you normally do that?
Yep.
Oh, okay, sweet. So
Yeah, we got to put it all back together, and then we pack it, rotate it, pack it, rotate it.
okay, and again, don't force it. There's a sweet spot. Looks like you got to get it in, and then there you go.
Yeah. When you get it, it's just perfect. It just goes
Right.
right in.
And then I think that's the smaller side. So to put in the other side, you got to put it on the thinner side,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you put the balls in first, or do you put that piece first?
This has to go in, and then the balls start to go in assembly. So you have to rotate it, put a ball in, assemble
Yeah.
it, rotate it.
So same way you took it apart.
Exactly. Same exact way. And you can kind of see the detent. See how it's.
Oh yeah. So that one's nice and flat, and then how does the other side look? The other side has kind of an angle to it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So which one goes outward?
This is the one. This is the one that goes inside because see how it's so swedged. So what it does,
It guides
tapers-
it.
It tapers in and squishes.
And then that's what the little retainer pin holds onto on the other side.
You can kind of see what it does. When it's in there, it's going to want to squish it flat.
Oh,
so that
okay.
way, because this is actually smaller, so that it's actually same size. So when it goes in, it expands on the backside. So and that's what gives us the detent. So this doesn't want to pull out easily. It
Awesome.
will pull out with force. but
And is this the back side or is that the front side? The thicker side is at the back or the front?
This is here.
Because you could kind of tell
Oh,
this
it
side's
fits
thicker. Yeah. And you can kind of see the angle that it's taking too. Yeah, it's got to go in sideways and yeah. And then which side do we want to put the flat side on? The thinner side, the back side?
Let's see here. So this is the side that is gonna. This is the side that will pull on. You know what I mean? I do believe it's gonna sit in there. Mistaken.
Because isn't it, if it's pulling that way, so you need it to pull towards the heavier side, right?
Correct.
So wouldn't it be the other way?
Just like this? No.
It would be like that. Yeah, like that. Wouldn't it be like that? Because then it goes in this way and it's pushing against that.
With it, yeah. So I should have looked at it. I didn't take it apart and look at it.
Well, and it was all over the place anyways because it was already apart. So it probably spun in there a bit.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a recap to you guys, right? There's a thicker side and a thinner side. Thicker side is the one that holds it in. So you want the smooth side there so you can push the axle
That
through.
way, now see it's locked.
Yeah, and yep, exactly. You can't pull it out.
Can't pull it out. The CV will not come out. If it was the other way around, this thing would just go bloop.
So it's a good idea to wash hands before putting the balls in.
Yeah. Just make sure they're clean before you start putting the grease together. You don't want any grit.
So you put a dollop and then put a ball in, or do you do?
Yeah, it's basically what I want to do. This helps hold them in place.
And you do every other ball, or?
Yeah, there's a sequence to it. And then towards the end, you got to kind of just get a little drift and force them and get them to go.
So you went what, like 2-3 balls over? Because it's more about centering it, right? So it looks to me like you're trying to center it.
Yeah, wrong way though.
All this has to be with the soft mallet, right? No hard
No
tools.
hard. If anything, you want to use a brass grip when you start to get toward the end to free all the pry, because you got to pry it. It's tight when you go. Make sure I got it lined out, baby.
Man, this is such a dirty job.
Yeah, it's mechanics hand lotion. You just want to work it back and forth. That's really what it is.
Yeah, and as you push it back in, let that force it in, huh?
Mm-hmm.
As you get more balls in, you will need a brass hammer to help move things around and make room for the bearings.
Yeah, it just goes in super easy.
Last one's the hardest. All brass tools. So that the tool itself gives.
Yeah, so I basically start pumping into it.
What about down the middle?
We're working it.
So this right here is just to get the grease to get worked in?
Yeah, just get the grease kind of get moving in.
Oh, soupy. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's gross. Never use this stuff in the package, right? That just turns to water.
Get what you pay for. You know, I mean, if you want longevity and you want it to be able to withstand the loads that we're putting it through, use a race product. It's worth the money. Really.
You put in just a little bit extra for insurance, but that's about all the grease you need.
Because this one doesn't move. It doesn't move in and out like the other one. It just rotates around it.
So the other one does need more.
The other one doesn't more yet, because it's moving. Where's the boot?
It's in a box.
In the box.
And it's a tight fit.
Very tight.
Then you want to pull out, just make sure it's good.
Yep, that's all it means. It's just a detail, you know what I mean? So you want to give it a good tone, but it shouldn't come out by, you should have to hammer it back out.
Okay.
Do it one more time, just kind of get around, move around in there. Feel the movement too. You don't want to feel it. It should have no stiction.
And no grinding?
No grinding, no hard spot, nothing like that. It should just feel fluid. You see how the grease is working its way down?
Yeah. It's very sticky grease too. Look at that.
Sticky.
It almost looks like gum.
It has like an anti-seize agent in it.
Oh, okay.
So it's
That
a
explains
mix.
it. Yeah.
It's a mix, basically. It's what they run on like 10 cars.
But those guys probably replace it after every race, huh?
Yeah.
Because the amount of heat they
Yeah.
put in on it.
A lot more heat than we do.
Oh, look at that. So yeah, you can see how it sucked it up and definitely want to add a little bit more.
Yeah, we can add more to it.
Now, is it usually one tube per side or can you run through two?
Generally what it is, kind of, I mean, it's close to that. These don't use as much. The outers use more.
So it's always good to have an extra, right?
I
So
agree. I totally
if you're going to do one side, get 2 tubes. If you're going to do both sides, get 3 tubes just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, because you can always have extra.
Yeah.
You never know when you're going to need it. You have to do this on the trail or something, you know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
follow a boot, at least you have it.
I got the shaft if you want to focus just on that. Yeah, see, it's kind of pushed in a little bit. So it does give it some room to expand
Yeah.
and contract.
Yeah, this one's not, I mean, because see, we have more than enough movement. It's generally this one's longer, so let's see.
So these clamps are unique because it actually puts the mechanism off to the side so they don't bite into it.
Yep. Yeah, they're made for CDs.
Now, does this head go on the inside or on the outside?
Well, I have it here.
Yeah, because this is where it can rub into it, right?
Tear it, yeah. So if it goes here,
No
you
tearing.
see it, you can't tear
Yeah,
it.
it's a flat surface.
Mhm.
That's what you want. You want a nice, flat, smooth surface. Because if you use regular ones, they will tear it up.
Yeah.
That's usually the culprit of tearing
Well,
up a
plus
boot.
they're too big generally, size wise.
Where can you get these?
I get these through McMaster Car, believe it or not. Just an industrial supply store.
I'll probably get with you later then on that part number.
They're a metric size. So.
Okay.
That's it.
One side done. All right, now we got to take this off and we got to rebuild the other one on the vise, right? Same process as before, right? So we got our thick side, we got our little side, right? And same with that. Now, that one, we have to make sure that the lip is on the inside, right?
Yeah, because you can see it.
Yep. Smooth on the outside. Now here you got to put the boot on first before the
Yeah.
next step.
Yeah, don't do what I was going to do.
Okay, so that is on the outside.
Yep.
Now this side's harder to reassemble because you got to do it with the whole thing put together, huh?
Yeah.
Is that broken?
It's just worn out.
Dude, that would suck if you don't have one. Might have to deal with that thing.
Every time we take them apart, they're like that's
Stock
exactly what
fluid.
they look like.
Look at that.
Stock
It's gross,
grease.
dude. It's like
Stock
almost
grease.
green.
Yeah, I mean, it's a synthetic, but it's really thin.
Oh, dude, that sounds so nasty. And it looks it looks like baby shit.
It does.
Good one, bad one.
Yeah. No bueno. Buenos.
So mine's like all bent in when it should be bent out.
That's why it came apart. There's no more. It's been crushed too many times. You know what I mean?
Wow.
How formed it is,
Yeah.
so it's no good.
It should be out to push out, not you got. Wow, dude, and you can't fix that, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, it sucks that they don't sell rebuild kits
I've been trying to source this too, and I can't find it.
because that's probably the most common failure point, right?
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, not all the time, but for trucks that have been taken apart quite a bit, yeah, it happens.
That
Or
blows.
if they've been pulled on too many times. You know, that's a problem. Like if you don't run limiting straps, you need limiting straps. Not when you're pulling on that.
Yeah, 'cause look at it.
You can see where it's been pulled on. It's hit. You know what I mean?
It just doesn't go back at all.
No, it's a spring still. So. And as you can see, it only goes on one way.
Yeah, you can't go the other way.
Can't go on two different.
Hey, thick side and slim side. The way they just squeeze in and start squeezing the shit out.
Yeah.
Wow, they go in pretty easy.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Is that all of them already?
Yeah, that's all of it.
Well, that was quick, man. You handled that super quick.
Yeah.
Here, Kevin is adding grease in the grooves where the bearings go before guiding the CV back in and installing the retaining clip.
Just like so.
That's it? Oh, you just gotta pack some more grease in there?
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
That's it. So that holds it in.
Once in, you want to add plenty of grease. Don't forget to move the shaft up and down, in and out to really work the grease in.
So it only goes on one way, and you said there's a detent here, and ideally you like to do the inside first before you do the outside.
I think it only matters.
You could do them either way, right?
I don't think it matters.
What's the torque spec for this?
Tight.
Good and tight?
Good and tight. Like, you're my girlfriend.
Right at the limit. So I think that's the one concern with these, right, is you're right at the limit so you can rip them out. It's bothering you that it's facing a different direction?
No, I'm just thinking I want to move it down a little because when I fully extended it, it was a little tight.
Oh, okay. Should be able to.
All done. Ah.
Reinstalling is the same as when you took it out. Make sure the axle clips in, and if needed, use a mount. Check by giving it a little bit of a tug. It shouldn't come out. Don't forget to install the IW deletes if you have them, and torque and mark everything to spec. Overall, the process to rebuild CV axles is much easier than I expected. It just takes a little bit of patience, the right tools, and a lot of race grease. Link to all the parts we used are in the description, including the lower cost boot option from Napa. Remember, the boot link below is recommended for Gen 1 axles. The Gen 2 boot is a little bit different. A longer inner CV boot is not a bad idea, but I've had good luck with these on my SVC mid-travel truck. My last set has lasted over 2 years and counting. Inside boot does have some contact wear, but not as bad as the smaller rib ones. Those were pretty bad after 2 years of use here in the trails of Southern California. Make sure you use the correct clamps and that they are oriented correctly. Stock crimp ones will work too, but if you install either the banjo or the crimp ones wrong, they can cut into the boots and cause them to fail prematurely. Standard banjo clamps will not work because the mechanism is centered. It has to be the special ones with mechanism offset like we linked below. I've tried the banjo clamps before when I had one of the crimp clamps fail on the trails for me, but by the time I got home, the banjo clamp had actually cut into the boot. So the right kind of clamps is important here. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Big thank you to Kevin for taking the time to show us how to do the axle rebuild so that we, and now you guys, can rebuild them in the future. Make sure you consider HM next time you're shopping for suspension upgrades for your truck. If you want more info on HM's build, check out this video here. Questions and comments below, and thank you for watching.